Spawn, aka Al Simmons, a soldier, a killer, a man betrayed by a system he swore to protect. Now, imagine that same broken soul, infused with hell's power, dropping straight into the universe of The Boys. A world where heroes are corporate pawns, gods sell energy drinks, and power is just another marketing campaign. But obviously, this world of greed and violence is very much an interesting place to drop him off. Because Spawn wouldn't just fit in, he'd become a monster that monsters fear. This isn't just one of your normal crossovers that I like to do. It's a collision of ideologies, which I usually actually enjoy more often than anything else, and a showdown between demonic vengeance and human corruption. And obviously, yes, things are going to get biblical. But before we even drop him off into the boys' gritty world and actively get into how the scenario could even possibly come up, I would like to first actively get into the character lore and abilities of this specific character in Spawn, just because I know there's probably a good couple of you guys that might not know his character and might not know exactly what kind of person he actually is. And as I am uploading for the entirety of the week every day for Halloween and more horror and scary themed characters, I would feel bad if I didn't at least give more knowledge and more light to a character that I really do enjoy. So yeah, let's get into who Spawn really is. Al Simmons was one of the government's most efficient assassins, a man willing to do anything in the name of loyalty, until that loyalty got him killed. Betrayed by his superiors and burned alive, Al was sent straight to hell. There, desperate and broken, he made a deal with a demon named Maliboga, trading his soul for a second chance to see his wife. But as we all know, deals with demons always twist the knife whenever you least expect it. And when Simmons returned to Earth, years had passed. His wife had moved on, his body was deformed, and his humanity had rotten away into something darker. Into Spawn. Now, Spawn's powers stem from necroplasm, an infernal energy that makes him nearly unstoppable. We're talking regeneration that makes Wolverine look fragile, strength to match gods, shape-shifting stealth, teleportation, a master over his living cape and chains that act as extensions of his rage. He can manipulate shadows, configure hellfire, and even resurrect the dead. But every ounce of his magic does cost him. Every time he channels energy of hell, his necroplasm meter ticks down. When his actively runs out, his soul belongs to Malbogia forever. And so, that ends up being the heart of Spawn's tragedy. Infinite power with a built-in expiration date. And now, imagine that curse playing out in a universe built on greed, on deception. The televised heroism that is known as The Boys. In a place like the Boys universe, hell might even look honest. Now, let's get into the scenario. So, obviously, we could have this go so many different ways, but the way that I want to kind of have it set up in my own head or whatever is Spawn wakes up in a room just basically of smoking ruins in the Vought International laboratory. The air smells like chemicals and blood, and the walls are cracked, demonic energy seeping through. He doesn't know how he got there. One minute he's battling demons, the next he's knee-deep in soups who think they're gods. Compound V is running through shattered vials like neon veins. Vought surveillance is picking up the aftermath, and within hours, Homelander is on camera calling Spawn a terrorist. The company's releasing statements about this unregistered soup and obviously making all of these narrative spins about an unregistered soup invading American soil. But you can't intimidate something that's already been to hell and come back as many times as he feels like it. Spawn's mission does obviously become clear. Uncover who brought him here, tear down Vought's empire of lies and decide if this corrupt version of humanity deserves a chance to exist or not. And obviously, they're not really going to be able to do much to him when the only thing that's going to be able to take him out is something related to holy power. And nothing is holy in a world like this. Now, when we get to the conversation about that Spawn versus the Soups kind of situation and scenario, let's be honest. This fight is very much not really much of one, depending on who he's fighting and anybody that he could possibly be facing in general. Because him versus Homelander, while it's a fight that most people might think of, some people that are actual true comic fans and even know Spawn would probably think of. And Homelander just went being a PR walking nightmare and just being an entire PR campaign on himself. He would try to confront Spawn and use his trademark smugness to just be like, I'm better, I'm faster, I'm whatever, until he notices that he's not. He would try hovering above, lasering buildings, doing whatever he can, but Spawn wouldn't flinch. Nothing that Homelander could possibly do could injure Spawn in any singular way. One flick of his chains, and Homelander slammed down in the pavement hard enough to make the world shake. And for the first time, Homelander bleeds and notices that he would be completely outmatched in every singular way. Then comes somebody like Soldier Boy, which I'm only talking about just because it's going to be fun to think about it in general, and he's a loudmouth patriot who has something to prove. He calls Spawn a communist demon, a threat to American freedom, or whatever. Spawn would just smirk, muttering, "You're not the first to say that." And this brutal fight, fist shattering concrete, whatever, if he's actually not trying to go too hard, would just end with Soldier Boy in the ground doing basically nothing at all. Spawn would emerge from the smoke unscathed, a cape billowing in a wind like a storm cloud or whatever. It's just going to cause massive annoyance to everybody else. Now, I wanted to add this next person in just for the fun of it because it would be hilarious to kind of deal with this, and she will be brought into my next Boys What If video just due to the fact that her and the character that I'm doing next would be very interesting interacting with each other. But let's talk about Stormfront, because Stormfront 1 would take it personal. Her arrogance and ideology ignite when she calls Spawn an abomination. Her replies coldly basically is, "I've seen real evil, you're just noise," and that's basically what he would reply. The fight ends with her body burned by hellfire. She's already been burned once. She's already been basically obliterated once. But her arrogance would truly be reduced to ash. And as for the rest of the 7, they panic. A-Train's speed matters nothing when chains snare his legs mid-run. Deep tries to talk to Spawn through the voice of the sea, and he gets thrown into a tanker instead. Queen Maeve gets the best fight, and honestly, depending on what point in time she gets involved into the storyline or has to deal with Spawn, she might not even be a target because she might have been redeemed at this point in time. But even then, Spawn is just a menace, and he is just vengeance incarnate. So any Soups or anybody that tries to get in his way will quickly figure out that that might not be the smartest idea. Butcher and the gang would also be a very interesting dynamic because Spawn will definitely be taking out and dealing with some of the trash in the Soup world. So when they first hear about this Hell Spawn, they just assume it's just another Soup. But once they see him in action, once they start seeing videos circulating around, slaughtering Soups without remorse, and doing all of these things, they would realize that he's something entirely different. Butcher would see the potential. A demon that hates Soups? Bloody perfect. Huey would be terrified but curious. MM would respect Spawn's military precision, and Frenchie could not stop trying to analyze the weapons and armor. Kamiko, I feel, would have a deep, eerie kinship with him, two killers shaped by pain, and over time I see them forming a very tense alliance in just the terms that Spawn doesn't know exactly what's going on in the world, because I'm not just giving him all information of the world, because I usually like having it be a situation where he's not from the world. But I see it being a point where Spawn doesn't like them, but he understands them. They're killers with a cause, just like him. He becomes their ace in the hole, a walking apocalypse Vought can't control. But the larger and longer that he fights alongside them, the more the lines would blur. And he would start questioning whether they're cleansing the world or dragging it deeper into hell, specifically when working with somebody like Butcher, and how much lengths he will go to. He would start wondering that every time that he's using his powers and that necroplasmic counter that's ticking lower, will he actively, start noticing that this group can have potential to do good work, but there is a couple things drawing them back. And so Butcher would be the main problem because he does not have any limits. He doesn't have any point that he's not willing to cross. So that would cause some contention and some problem at some point in time. Now, eventually with time, the boys and Spawn would obviously continue doing what they do, trying to take down Soups and more specifically trying to take down Vought. And we know Vought doesn't just fight back with Soups. They fight back with image, spin narratives, spin lies, and the company would launch a global campaign branding Spawn as the demon threat, claiming that he's a part of a satanic movement bent on destroying superheroes. Behind the scenes, Vought starts experimenting with Compound V mixed with fragments of demonic energy collected from Spawn's previous battles, and out of this they try creating the Hellfire Initiative, a task of augmented soldiers who wield infernal power. Obviously, this would not work. No way do they even get anywhere close to coming up with anything that works relatively well. They might get something that does something, but it's not going to be looking good. It's not going to be doing whatever, because the results would be horrifying. Soulless trying to make soup hybrids glowing with red eyes, weapons forged from whatever, and it would just be a very interesting kind of thing to see because Vought is probably going to do something weird and stupid with it. But the real twist would probably come when Vought's leadership tries to make a deal with tries to make a deal with the same demon that Spawn is connected to themselves. They promise to deliver Spawn's soul in exchange for dominion over the entirety of this hybrid army that they could possibly try getting to work correctly. And the corporate greed would try meeting this demonic politics. And Spawn finds himself forcing not just Vought Soups or whatever, but his old master from pulling the strings. But in the end, Spawn is a very interesting character no matter what, and whatever happens in a scenario where he's in the boys' universe, Spawn's story alone has always been about redemption, about a man trying to undo the sins that he kind of caused to damn him. The boys' universe, that mission becomes very impossible if he's put in there. Every good deed does basically get twisted by a media spin. Every Soup he kills becomes another martyr. He's forced to question what redemption even means in a world that is this rotten. Butcher pushes him towards destruction, saying that there's no saving humanity, only punishing it. Huey, though, reminds Spawn that people can change, and maybe even a demon can still find peace. That conflict becomes the emotional backbone of this entire story in a way that I could possibly sing it in my head, and it's less about who wins, more so about the fact that Spawn could hold on to the little humanity that he has left, because in this world even devils look righteous next to heroes like Homelander. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more videos like this. If you have any more boys what if ideas for specific characters to be put in this boys universe, please tell me down in the comment section below, because I would love to hear them, and I plan on doing a lot more of these along with invincible variations and other things like that. So just give me ideas down in the comment section and I will probably get to them whenever I have the chance. But with all that said, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.